I'm gonna say premium price, but premium is kind of it gives the air that I'm trying to overcharge or whatever. But charging a premium price for a service means that there are a lot more customers that are going to say no to you than will say yes. Exactly. But you don't need everybody if you're charging a good price, right? If you're charging the right price, you don't need everybody to sign the contract with you.
Right.
So you're charging not only for the time that you spent, in my case, more than 15 years learning the things that I know. You're paying for all of that time I spent educating myself. You're paying for the experience that I had while doing this professionally.
Yes.
You're paying for the time that I take to plan this job out, to write an estimate, to get the invoices, my computer, my insurance, everything that I need.
Everything.
Plus, gas, time to get materials, all of these things, that all has to be taken into account. And then I put something in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention taxes and licensing and all this other stuff. So there's a lot that I have to consider. And then after all of those things, I have to also consider the reason why I brought up you don't need everybody to sign a contract with you is because there are going to be gaps. Potentially, there are going to be gaps between work.
Yeah.
So if I make a killing in 1 week and then I don't work for 3 more weeks, I need that 1 week to not only just be enough to sustain me for that week, I need to be sustained potentially for that entire month, right?
Exactly.
And so I have to price things even according to that.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I charge about $6,800 for this one job, and it's been going. It's dragging on at this point. It's coming to a close, but it's been dragging on. But the thing is that I charge this amount thinking like, okay, well, that's a reasonable amount of money. That's a labor only job. It's cool. Talking to a guy that's more of an expert, and we had a conversation about what my expenses look like, what my livelihood should be.
Right.
Turns out I should have been charging about $20,000 for this job.
That's beautiful. You know now, though, man.
I know now.
It is. And don't forget. And the thing is that really focus on the business aspect of it. Just forget about being the nice guy, because that's what I've done, over the years. And what I've learned, man, and this is proven, how you price your services, you're gonna attract a certain group.
Yes.
And people take you more seriously when you charge more.
I'm learning that as well.
Because the people that don't mess with you, that's not your business. That's not your market.
Yeah, that's not.
You know what I'm saying? Because I take myself very seriously as an artist, right? And so if somebody inboxes me and says, how much would you charge to do this? And then I tell them the price and I don't hear from them, I'm like, that's all I needed.
Yeah.
I've turned down a lot of work simply because people want, I think human nature, people just want something for nothing. And they want high quality for nothing. On your end of it, that just ain't gonna fly because materials alone have gone up.
Oh yeah.
And people don't really think about that.
Yeah.
And so they see a nice guy, a young guy, and so they say, oh, this is about to be cheap. Nope. So I like what you posted because it's framing, a whole different perspective for people. Oh, this guy's serious. You know what I'm saying? And you want them to take you seriously above all.
Yeah.
You're not just a hood dude, from the block, just doing a side hustle.
Yeah.
This is
how you're building something.
You're building something. You're enterprising.
Yeah.
And so we got to be never cutthroat, never gouge, but we must be of a mind of growth.
Right.
This is my business. This is my livelihood.
Right.
Because, see, I'm trying to scale myself in a way where I can just rely on my gifts to feed us.
Yeah.
My wife and I. You see what I'm saying? And that's very possible. It's very doable.
Yeah.
But the above all thing, because, man, people look at us. They're like, these are some nice guys. People look at me like I'm a pushover. And then they're disappointed when they find out, oh, you serious. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually serious because this is what I do. And I take it seriously. And you can be passionate about it. But at the same time, your mindset has to be like, hey, it's nothing personal. This is business. You know what I'm saying? And even family members that have approached me, it's like, please tell me your costs because I understand and I see what you do and I it's beautiful and I know that's not easy. And I appreciate that because a lot of people, man, they reach out to you and they're like, hey, man, my son needs a mural of a fire truck now, and I'm like, I don't do murals.
Blacks and white portraits.
And I had to tell people that, man, I literally, whatever you see me marketing, are you going to ask Coke to give you a Pepsi? No.
Right.
Whatever you see me marketing, that's what I do. And people be like, people want me to do logos. I know people that do logos. And I'll send them that business. I'm like, I don't do that. People don't understand that that's a discipline. You're not going to ask a basketball player to play football. It's a discipline. So I try and be specific like that. I love that because the more specific you are, is another thing where people will take you seriously.
Yeah.
When you're like, this is what I specialize in.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yep.
I love that, man. And it's very imperative that you just toe the line with that. But definitely get your business model down and your pricing, because people will they'll love your prices, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, hey, man, can you come fix this doorknob for me? You know, I only got like $100. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't do anything like that.
Yeah,
This is what I do, and these are my prices.
Yeah.
Go up on your prices, and you will attract a certain group.
Yep.
And you will stay there, because the word of mouth after that is going to be the upper echelon.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because you served your community, and you still can.
Yeah.
You know, but it's put yourself in a different. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You can put yourself in that different. You can give yourself a raise.
Yeah. Right.
And you will get the big ticket customers that will sustain you for a quarter of a year.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can live off quarters, man, with what you're doing.
Sure.
And you don't have to get these like nickel and dime. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mike, could you run over here, man? I've got a leak. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to let people know. I actually don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I've had people get mad at me because they want you to stay the nice guy. You know what I'm saying? They want you to always say yes. It's like, especially people that know you. It's like, I actually can't do that. I literally cannot do it. If I could do it. Yeah, you know that if I could do it, I would do it.
Right.
But I can't. So.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. So when you start and even with you, Al, with your art, like the itemization, right?
Yeah.
So is that an upfront thing during the quote that you give them, or is that something like on the background that only you should be aware of? Like, how much of transparency would you developed in the negotiation or quotation process?
That's been something that I kind of have gone back and forth with. The level of detail, I always include enough detail to protect me in terms of legal ramifications. You know what I mean? I want to say, for instance, if I'm installing 6 lights here, that's going to be in the estimate and in the invoice that I am going to and did install 6 lights, because if you come back and want to take me to court and say, hey, you told me you were going to do 12 lights. Nah, I got a detail here.
Yeah.
I got the amount of square footage in terms of paint. Now, painting, flooring, whatever it is, I have measurements for all of those things, and that's how I itemize. I don't necessarily itemize and say, hey, your material cost is going to be $120 because I had to get 11 sheets of drywall. I'm not going to say that. It's just going to be this square footage of drywall. This is the price for those materials and so on. So I have had customers ask me for itemized material lists before. I provided that one time, and it was a special case. I don't typically provide itemized material lists, because if I'm going to do that, then you can go get your own materials. That's extra time that you're going to have to pay me for anyway, because itemizing takes my time.
Right.
I know what I need while I'm putting together my estimate, and it's scribbled in my notebook, because that's all I need to know what to go shop for. But if you need an itemized list, I can give you that, but you're going to go buy it, because I've already taken that time to draw up the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a case-by-case basis for the most part. And it's even more so an industry-by-industry basis, because there are some industries where, for instance, maybe let's say food service, you might need to know how many hamburger buns we need to feed 500. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, that type of thing. Maybe in that case, okay, but I can't say, I don't want to generalize too much across the board, because every tier of entrepreneurship and every industry is different. But for me, I've recognized that there are people who will try to nickel and dime just because they don't trust anybody. They just want to make sure that nobody's getting over on them and all of that. But at the end of the day, what they may not realize is that once you get a reputable person that's providing these goods and services, you're adding extra stress on the good guys, because the bad guy, you know what I'm saying? So I typically shy away from. That's a red flag. Now that you say that, so it's good to know that anybody's watching. Usually, it's a red flag for a contractor when a customer is up front saying, "Hey, I need an itemized list of everything that you bought." I'm probably going to step back from the job.
Well, I was thinking. I'm glad you said that. That's a good point. And I'm just noting it, right? One thing that I was thinking about, like, because I paint on the side, and I still have like a inventory, of paints. Of rollers and different things like that. That I know that I don't have to go out and buy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can just take it on the next job and use it over and over and over and over again. For one thing, I know how to take care of my stuff.
Sure.
So I don't have to go.
And that's the
know.
thing with painting.
Yeah, and that's the thing with painting.
Yep.
And Al, the reason why I was bringing that up for you, like, do you actually when you do your costs, do you factor in like your pencils, your you know what I mean? Like, how do you factor all that kind of stuff in?
I factor in the frames that I buy.
The frame, okay,
Because I offer 3 different sizes, and then I mat and frame it myself.
Okay,
So I factor that into the cost. And you know, some people don't want it. It's complimentary to the work that I do. I offer it as a complimentary, but I do factor in the cost of the price.
Okay.
You know, within the price, because you know, sometimes people want, you know, like 10 people in a drawing. I'm like, yeah, I got to go bigger, you know, and people trust me, you know.
Yeah.
But I offer 3 sizes. My pencils and stuff, I do factor that in. But everything that I buy, I use it over a long time. I buy enough that it'll last me years. I mean, you know, the stumps that I use for my blending and things like that. So the upfront costs for me are not very high at all.
Okay.
You know, it's really about my time. When I'm charging now, from like when I do video work, I did my buddy's wedding this past weekend or last weekend or 2 weeks ago. Man, time is going by. 2 weeks ago, and then plus editing. So I break it down like time. You know, editing because I'm shooting. So you know, that was like a full day, like 8-hour day.
Right.
So I'm charging a significant amount for that, and then editing. You know, people understand that when they really want you, they understand it. You know, but so for me, and I've already invested in all my camera equipment and stuff, and I have my computer for editing and so all my software. So now I was just charging for time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with everything.
So what I would suggest to you, and even for you, is cameras break down over time.
They do.
You're going to have a fund, whether it's coming out of your own profits or whatever, for the inevitability of you needing, or, you know, maybe the technology changes in the next year or two or whatever, and then you saying, okay, well, I want to shoot, but this camera is substandard now. I need to upgrade. So what I usually do is there's an overhead, there's maintenance fee within an overhead for that type of stuff. You know, camera maintenance, film, lenses, you know, tripods, things all that you might trip over a cord or whatever. And you know, so, and then for you, rollers, brushes, drop cloths, trays, all of these things. If you know that you go through, let's say you buy a big pack of rollers, let's say 10 packs of rollers, and you go through that in 6 months.
Right.
I mean, you probably can make them stretch way longer than 6 months. But let's say you go through 10 rollers in 6 months. I would take whatever the cost is of that roller. So let's say it's $10. You know, that's a small amount, but it adds up, because if you're doing this over a course of 20 years, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if you take that $10 and say, okay, well, every job I get, if I get one job a month, I'm going to spread out that $10 and chop it up and add that to my overhead. So there's a labor fee for your time, and then there has to be overhead for your expenses, because you're spending gas to drive to these places. You're spending gas to drive over there.
Yes.
You got to pay your car insurance, or else you can't drive. You got to get your license renewed. You got to put gas in your car. You got to keep the lights on and electricity and the internet in your house in order to do your editing.
Yes.
All of those things go into your overhead.
Yeah.
So you have to factor in all of those costs so that none of it is coming out of your own pocket, because you're not paying yourself to do the job.
Right.
The customer is paying for your goods and services, and everything that you use to put into those goods and services have to be charged back to the customer, or else you're paying it out of your own pocket.
So I got a question for you. Can Gary set you up with an Excel file?
Yes. Right. Listen, hey, you could make $1 million doing that
Excel file.
I saw this man work. He like a freaking wizard on that Excel.
You good with Excel? Man,
unbelievably
that's big.
I'm good,
crazy.
but not like that. I'm not bad. I'm not bad, but he's pretty good.
He like knows all the secret, like the Easter eggs and stuff that people nobody else knows how to do all that.
Man.
So that's kind of like what I was thinking as you were talking. Like if you did have an Excel file that you can, and I'm sure it's out there. You know what I'm saying? Like
I have Excel
file that you
with the formula of the totals. And all that stuff.
You use that for yours and everything?
I do. Now I was with QuickBooks a while because it's all for taxes. Because I'll expense everything. I mean, I'm LLC. You know, I got my EIN, and so for tax purposes, I'll put everything. You know, I've done gas because I deliver people stuff. I ship stuff. I buy boxes to ship across the country.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so all that stuff I have to expense.
Right. Well, that's at the end of the year. I'm thinking about per job. See, me, I'm thinking about time is money, right? So I was thinking about using that Excel file to say, so I've already agreed to this cost. Like, you put that number in there and it calculates and say, I don't know if I'm gonna make money on this thing. You know what I'm saying? Is there a way that you can,
It's in our instinct. If we haven't had any business training, and I'm learning this as I go. I have had no business training except for in the field doing it. It seems almost instinctual to just think about charging for, like, let's say your painting jobs. You're doing it on the side. You have a 9 to 5. You're doing it on the side. So it's easy to think, what do I need to charge them so I can put some money in my pocket? But we don't think instinctually anyway. We don't think about the fact that I'm paying my business and my business is paying me.
Yeah.
How much does the business need to make in this transaction?
Nice.
Because the business
That's a
owns
good way of
everything.
thinking, man.
Like we just said, your computer, your electricity, your internet, your car, your gas, your time, your insurance, all of the things are under the umbrella of this business. The business has to take care of all of that. You can't pay for that. How would you feel if you drove up to GM and they asked you to write a check to pay their light bill? That don't make sense. GM pays the lights and then they pay you.
Yeah.
So with Ethan Merriweather Painting, whatever it might be, Ethan Merriweather Painting has to pay the lights in his house. Ethan Merriweather Painting has to pay the upkeep for the vehicle to get back and forth to all of the jobs, the gas, the insurance, your driver's license, everything. And then Ethan gets paid from that, from what's left over. So you have to price it. And again, I'm just learning. I'm just really grasping these concepts.
It's beautiful.
And then you get paid after all of the other expenses have been taken care of. That's why it's called overhead. It's the first thing. It's the tithes. It comes off the top, and then you get yours. Right. So I think that you got to pay attention to not just saying, man, $500 for a paint job, that's a lick. It might be, but if you had to drive an hour both ways, and if you had to, use the rollers that you have already used up, and now you got to go buy some more and all that, your $500 starts to decrease pretty quickly, and not all of that is going in your pocket, because some of it is going in your tank, some of it's going to the gas bill, some of it's going to the Home Depot to pick up this and that, and trips back and forth to Home Depot, and all these other things. That $500 would be $200 real fast.
Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. Just
for sure.
The business aspect.
Yes.
And then
for sure.
Once you lock it in though and get your workflow down, your expenses for every job, you can see how you're gonna make profit. It does take some planning though. I'm interested.
You have to be intentional, man.
I'm interested to know your level of Excel though. Because Excel is crazy.
It's magical,
bro. You let me know if you need something done.
Definitely.
Work with you on it.
Definitely. Because my extent of it is, and my wife has showed me, the formula, doing the little sum.
Yeah. You think you fancy doing that? Because that's what I used to know. I'd be like, man, you can do math and everything on here. This thing can figure out sine and cosine and all that.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize I was scratching the surface.
Yeah. But I think once. And see, here's the thing. This is actually a serious discussion. It's cool, as black men, we're talking about this because you want to do business, with black business, and once you kind of see the goods, the services, whatever, a lot of it lacks that polish. And this is a serious discussion because we want to be taken serious as businesses, as entities, and there is a stigma there. We've been stigmatized as black people that run businesses.
Sure.
And for me, I'm always paying attention to that. It's very important to me.
All the time.
I'm very sensitive to it and how my delivery. And people are always happy with me. I haven't had any problems, particularly with my art. Video, I've had some. I've had to learn some things. But with my art, it's impeccable because really the product becomes you. Who you are becomes the part of the product.
Yes.
Like who you are. So, and a lot of times people do business, especially our people, they do business with who they like, which is, that totally makes sense. So for me, and if you're good at something, it's a great experience, because, people have left reviews and things and they just love doing the business because they want to work with you. And, so with my video work, unfortunately, I have turned down quite a few video projects because it's just, the time, you know, and then but people like really are adamant they want to work with you, and then you know you got to just kind of back out of it. But what I've learned is part of the polish is how you conduct yourself with people. Once you really solidify that foundation, then the business will come.
Yeah.
You know, and people are more forgiving if there's some human error in it. Now, obviously, you want to eliminate, especially with what you do.
Yeah.
Human error is like
too many of them. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Like this GF5 plug,
Right?
A little hole be up here.
Right. Is it supposed to spark
upside
when I
down? Yeah.
Right.
It's supposed to click when I turn it.
yeah. And then you don't clean up after yourself. You leaving stuff behind. So what I have learned is because I have everything down pretty much the way that I want it for my drawing business.
Okay.
It's down to a science. How I want to do deliveries, and I put it the explanation. When I send it to people. And I just let them know this, and this, and the serious people, they come when they're serious. Because, art is important to people. It's part of our human nature,
Yeah.
And so the serious ones come, and then the people that are not serious or it's too much for them, it's fine.
Yeah.
You kind of weed people out that way. But
it definitely helps you deal with rejection being a business owner.
Definitely. It was easy for me because I'm like, for the business that I don't get, there's always more, after that. And I'm grateful for that because it's really about ultimately your name, and then the business that your name is attached to. And once people just think about that alone and that feel good that they have, like if you make people feel good with what you do, they're going to come back to you, man.
Yeah.
And it could be for something small, they just want to work with you.
Yeah.
And so that becomes a part of the overall, the packaging of your product is who you are when you're an independent contractor or independent entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Is what I've learned.
Yeah, I'm realizing more and more how the path that I'm on in terms of self mastery is paying dividends in the way that I interact with my customers and their perception of me.
Yes.
I've been working on this time management thing. That's been a big one for me. And I had a conversation with a customer of mine. I was late. This was a few weeks ago. I was late. And, he made a comment about it, and we laughed about it, but I was like, I won't be late anymore. And I haven't been late since. Not only have I been on time, I've been early every day since. And every time I walk in, he's like, oh, there he is on time, But it's become a thing where I want those types of interactions to be a part of my reputation.
Yeah.
I'm the guy I want to be. I haven't always been, but I want to be the guy that shows up on time. I want to be the guy that has a clean work site. I want to be the guy that provides the best service because I don't want to have to be desperate, which will make me the cheapest guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The people who, and that's what I'm learning, it gives off an air of desperation. When your prices aren't high enough, you know what I mean? It seems like, why don't you have any work? Your prices are in the basement. Yeah. Why don't you have any work? You clearly don't have any because your prices wouldn't be this low and so on. And then it goes back to the lack of professionalism because a professional knows what a job is supposed to be worth.
Exactly.
A professional
the market value.
Exactly. A professional understands his own worth and he understands the market well enough to know that people are going to overlook the lowest price and the highest price, and they usually go somewhere in the middle.
I've done a lot of research with like different artists for sketches, different qualities of paper, different materials, all that stuff. And I'm right like at market. And for me, so as time goes on, you kind of have to reward yourself for the time you put in. Just go up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit because now it becomes
it's pretty good.
Like you specialize in it. It's just like anything. Engineering, you're a specialist.
Okay. And
so you can go up a little bit. I'm never going to gouge anybody.
Right.
But I will, it will be what I need it to be.
Yeah.
And I think
that makes sense.
It has to. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship is you can kind of scale it up, incrementally where it's going to benefit you just more and more.
Yeah. And it's justifiable too, though, because you're learning. You're learning.
Exactly.
You're improving your craft too. So it makes sense your prices are going up as you gain expertise.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's funny is that's in every field.
Yes.
I mean, in engineering, as you learn and progress in your career, they're giving you raises.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you picked up this, or you've been here so long, or you've been doing this, blah blah blah. Here's another 5%. Here's another $10. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing.
Yep.
So I agree with you 100%. It's got to be it happens even in retail. Like the price of wood is astronomical right now.
Yes.
The price of all materials across the board, are astronomical. And so everything in the industry has to rise to meet that, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about being able to be assertive when it comes to pushy and those type of customers that want to haggle or balk at prices or even methods and stuff. I've had customers that will come in and kind of look over my shoulder and say, hey, is this that or blah 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 blah. Thankfully, I'm not just some jackleg, so I'm able to explain exactly what I'm doing, and I can even pull up, I can say, well, you want to see somebody doing it on YouTube, or you want to read the code book, or you want to, and so because I do things, the right way, so I don't have an issue there, but I know that it can be, for somebody that doesn't have, like, I consider myself a reasonably assertive person.
Yeah.
But I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are more passive.
Yeah.
Who that might kind of nudge them to rub them the wrong way so much so that it might discourage them or whatever. And so I recognize that assertiveness in an entrepreneurial position is critical. You have to be able to assert yourself. Because if you can't stand on your own 2 feet, people that are spending money with you, they're going to push you down every time because that's what people do. I want to give you, like you said at the beginning, I want to give you as little as I can to receive as much as possible. That's the nature of doing business. I'm trying to do that and you trying to do that. You know what I mean?
And if you let them,
I mean, I'm not trying to do that. I'm saying that's the nature of most transactions. Let's get the best value. I want to be happy, and I want you to be happy.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, that assertiveness is vital. But definitely stand your ground, man. And I'm gonna tell you, as you get older, it's gonna get a little easier because you're gonna come to the realization that, okay, I'm good at what I do, and I operate in integrity. And so when you operate in integrity, you living right, and you do good business, that gives you a certain level of confidence with how you're going to move. And that's how I do. I mean, you have a good rapport with your customers. You speak well with them. They like you. You like them. It's a lot of eye-to-eye contact. Then they know, yeah, man, so just throw me that.
Right.
It ain't no shady junk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like we straight up doing business as men. You do business with women. We doing straight up. So with that, when you operate in a level of integrity just in your life, but then in business and how you move, it builds that confidence to say, this is just how I move. I mean, because I'll never forget. So when my wife and I got married, we hired this lady, man. I forget the name of the business right now, but she solely just did the table coverings and stuff. And when you cover the chairs and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Man, this lady was about her business, though. She always inspired me because we went in there. She was no nonsense. It was a black lady because we did business with all black people before I went in. But she was no nonsense, man. She's over like off of Southfield Freeway. We went in there. We told her what we wanted. She was like, I got it. It's going to be this cost. Bam, bam, bam. We're like, okay. Let me tell you something. Wedding day, they were in there. Everything was laid out because we got married at Faith Temple and our reception was in the basement. They were in there. When it was over, she had a crew of people, well-oiled machine, all black people. They cleared it out very quietly and very peacefully. They were very, but the thing is, what she did was she let us know. She gave us her credentials up front. Okay. This is what I do. This is how long I've been doing it. I have a good reputation. My name means everything to me. So when I come there, we're gonna make sure you're well served. And when it's time for us to leave, we're gonna be out. She let us know all that, and she delivered to a T. And so that's my thing about operating in integrity and letting people know how serious you are. Because it's okay to communicate certain things and just say, this is what I do. This is what I specialize in. You will have the service. Your expectations will be met. And when you do that, man, people are gonna pay you. Man. They don't. Yeah. They're not gonna have a problem paying you because the people that want to spend their money, it's people that want to spend money and they like to stunt. You know what I'm saying? And so, if they get a high roller contractor with a good reputation, they're gonna spend the money, man. Because it's pride on their end of that. And it's a joy to have a good contractor come in your home and lay it out and everything is on point. Everything's clean.
Better.
Man, you can't beat it. And the beauty of what you're doing, the beauty of what we do is no matter how far technology advances, you're always going to need to do work with your hands. It's always going to be a need. I don't care what you see in the industry. Robots may be hanging drywall, but people don't want to do business with a robot. They're going to want to do business with Mike Wilson. Yeah, they need to talk to people. People don't want to talk to automation on the phone. They don't want to do it, man. They want to talk to human beings. So with your business, that face-to-face is going to be your currency. It just is. And they're talking about that now. You can read articles and see reports on it. The currency is going to be how you communicate. Yeah. And unfortunately, tragically, the generations coming behind us, that's going to be something they may struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how you can talk to people. Look people in the eye and talk to them. That's the currency.
Yeah.
You get that, you get your business plan, lock it in, bro, you are going to make so much money, man. You're going to be so blessed in what you do. Your gifts will kick open doors for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's the beauty. That's why I love you posted that. And when any black business, for me, if I see something, I always share it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want it to move
that,
fast.
man.
Yeah, I want it to just move fast. Just because people's attention span with that stuff is it's a quick swipe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, they got their swipe on his page, so I'll put it on.
Let them see it again.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's imperative, but I love what you're doing, and you're going to be blessed to have the customers that are serious about this thing, because you're doing residential and commercial, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is great. That is great, man. So, so you said you still painting.
Yeah, on the side, keep myself available for that.
Yeah,
and I think I'm working with Mike just to help him out.
Yeah,
just to get some things on the side. I want word of mouth.
Yeah,
I think that'll be better for me.
It always is.
You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Because
coming highly recommended. I'm learning is a big deal.
It's vital.
I've had people that told me. I had a lady that called me in June of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Was it May? I think it was June of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, hey, I was recommended to you by such and such and such. Mm-hmm. And at this time, I was starting these 2 major projects that I'm still on.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I said, I really would like to, to work with you. I said, but unfortunately, I don't have time, and I'm not really sure when I'll be able to. I said, maybe sometime in September, October. Mm-hmm. I said, if you like, we can reconnect then, and I'll be happy to revisit the job. Mm-hmm. And she said, judging by your credentials and the way that you were recommended, she said, I'm willing to wait. You just call me and let me know.
I love that, dude. That's
that was
a testimony.
That was in June. It's it's a few days before October. I reached out to that lady this morning to let her know that I'm getting close to the end of these jobs. And she was like, hey, that's great. I'm still waiting on you.
Mm-hmm. See, that's another thing is real. That is key, man. That you remember the clientele and you call them up. Man, I'm noting that now, man.
That shows polish, though.
Noting.
It shows a refined businessman.
That's awesome.
Because people remember all that little stuff.
Yeah. Man, I didn't even think about that. I just
that's what I'm saying.
I'm glad to know that, but I'm just scrolling through my text. Who did I miss?
Right. But what's imperative is that who you are bleeds over into the work. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
That's beautiful.
I've had people that in that same vein, I've had people who have lost loved ones, and they say, I wanted to commission an artist to do this work, and the only person I thought of was you.
Wow.
And that makes me like elated, almost emotional,
yeah.
Because then when you start doing a drawing, it's like, this is really important to this person. And it has to be right. It's an honor.
Yeah.
And that's happened many times. And I take it very seriously. But the fact that they say the only person I thought of was you is I mean,
that's beautiful.
Because it's so many people that can actually draw. I think that draw quite well.
Yeah.
And they're really promoting themselves way more than I do. But again, it goes to the testament is that it goes to who you are. You know what I'm saying? If you're not arrogant, you're not like, I could draw that for you. You know what I'm saying? You throw me 1,000, I'll get that for you.
I'll hook it up for you.
If you're like,
what is this?
Right. It'd be all messed up and dirty.
It'd be stick thumbprints on it all over.
It'd be a stick.
Right.
Yeah, but this is my abstract. This is my abstract.
Hey, you remember the drawing on the Napoleon Dynamite? He's like, it took me like 20 minutes to finish the shape on your lip.
I had tears.
That was so funny.
Yeah, I had tears on that.
But,
but that lets you know that people, they're looking at you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, the conversations out there would be like, Mike Wilson, he does, home renovation stuff. That's one conversation. But then the other conversation is, who is Mike Wilson? And that to me, that's the more important conversation. Because you got everybody.
That's awesome, man.
It's a lot of people that do what you're doing. Like every industry that we're in, somebody's doing it.
Yeah, it's saturated.
It's saturated, yeah. And so the thing is that, he does it. It's a couple of brothers in the church that do stuff like this, right? But then they're like, but I want to go with Mike though. You know what I'm saying? That's the move. That's the thing that you want in your life.
Yeah.
Is that I'm gonna go with Mike because like my boy worked with him. Like he did some work for my mom. And they're all very happy. And I seen what he did at their homes. And it's just like, I want to go with that guy. Yeah. And you just make people feel good.
Yeah. And I'm working on it, man. I'm working on building my model and my in the field behavior to get to the point where I feel worthy of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've got a lot of, humbly, I've received a lot of accolades and people, recommended me and all that, which I'm extremely thankful for.
Yeah.
But I'm working to feel like you know what I'm saying? Because I know, I might leave a mess one day and leave and then have to come back the next day and clean it up. Or I might, there may be something that I need to adjust or, the job might go longer than I originally planned for. Yeah. And so those are some things that obviously those come along with learning and all of that kind of thing. And I'm constantly always tweaking and I'm noticing things and I'm noticing how customers respond when I come in the mornings and if they seem a little not as cheery. So I'm thinking, okay, well, did I do anything? Is there anything that I, didn't do yesterday or did I stay too late? Was I too loud? Was I laughing? Was I on the phone too much? Blah, blah. I'm constantly doing that because I want my business model to fit the lady that you just described at your wedding. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's the reputation that I'm looking to have. Yeah. And so, starting recently and even, all the way since I started, I've been working towards it, but I've been kind of hyper focused on that lately. Yeah. The work is fine. I'm good at the work. Yeah. It's the other things that I want to make perfect. The time I show up, the way my crew is dressed, the way my crew smells, their hygiene, every single item, I want it to be as perfect as it can be.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would say being on time, bro, that's
a big one.
That alone speaks volumes. Yeah. If you don't do anything else right, 10 minutes.
I'm trying my best,
dude. If you get there and trip and fall and spill something, if you're on time,
it'll be a lot less.
It won't be no problem.
I love it
but that's a big one for me.
That's vegetation, man.
Yeah. So like, if I have a service where I'm doing a wedding or just any kind of shoot, I'm always there early. If I'm doing my artwork and then I'm doing a delivery, I'm very specific. I will be there at this time, and I'm always there because that becomes a part of who you are. It's like it's all about how people see you. You know what I'm saying? Like again, like I said, you got the Mike Wilson. Oh yeah, he does home renovations. He does drywall. We know what he does, but then who is Mike Wilson? Oh, he's a guy that's late. He was late. Like my mom said, he was like 20 minutes late. Man, that right there will kill you.
I was about to say,
kill you.
That's been a constant theme for me since I was a little kid, and so I'm literally pulling myself out of that by force.
Were you born late? Did you come out?
Something happened, man. I don't know.
You were scheduled to come out. It's
I was born on the one day where all the clocks stopped.
He was in there like,
I'll be out to say. It's a ripple effect.
Yeah, it was a thing, when I was a little bit younger that like Mikey gonna be late to his own funeral, his wedding, everything, because that was just but now that time management is something that I'm hyper focused on. I'm building that mindset that says being on time is so much more important than I ever gave it any credence for. When I was in school, I was never on time to my classes. Yeah. I worked in the plant for 7 years. I might have been on time 3 times. Yeah. The whole time I worked there. Yeah. And so I'm literally pulling myself out of this mindset that's like, I'm going to do a great job when I get there. So I'm pulling myself out of that mindset to say, professionalism means that regardless of what kind of job you're going to do, get there and do the job when you say you're going to be there. Yeah. And so that's kind of,
I would say
it's rough, man.
I would say cut like the last 5
minutes. Yeah, cut some of that. Yeah. Make it look good. Yeah.
Like this guy's admitting that he's not.
But I'm being honest because it's a work in progress, and just like I'm learning my pricing models, just like I'm learning, other things, and just like how I'm learning how to run a business in general. I'm learning about taxes. I'm learning about employees. I'm learning about insurance. I'm learning about time management. Time management has not been a strong suit historically for me. Yeah. Now I have a much firmer grasp on it, and I live by it much more. Yeah. But yeah, man, time management has been one of those things.
It's a motivator, and I think about it like somebody's always watching me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And think about it like this. People are actually expecting you to be late or expecting something to go wrong. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, if people are always looking at you like, something gonna go wrong. Look at this guy. Look how young he is. Something gonna go wrong.
No, he ain't gonna be here.
Yeah. And so, but my thing is, don't let it be that you're not on time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everything may not be
that's
perfect.
The one thing I can actually always control.
You can,
but most time.
Yeah. But then that's the one thing people always remember.
Yeah.
Like, he did a great job, but I had somewhere I had to be able to go pick my kid up, and I had to wait for him.
Yeah, I hate that, man.
You see what I'm saying?
I hate that.
But it becomes like people don't remember what you did for them and remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
You know, so like the portraits that I do for people of a loved one that has transitioned. The portrait is cool. It's always good. It's beautiful. They're happy about it. But it's how they feel about it that really transcends everything, because it's just a drawing they're going to hang on the wall, which is very important because it's a memory.
Yeah.
But then there's this thing of the fact that you took the time to do this when I asked you.
Yeah.
I paid you this small fee. You took the time to do something so important and significant to me. That's what they remember you for. And then you delivered it to me. All of that is what plays. Because people know what you do. They know what you're offering.
Yeah.
But then, if you come staggering and like, sorry, man, I lost my phone.
I
was trying to get here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
My
and
alarm
I've
went
been
off
that
late.
guy, bro. I've been that guy, admittedly. And
Yeah.
it's just something that I've had to work out of. And I'm
Yeah.
out of it now
Yeah.
for the most part. And I'm grateful for that. But yeah.
Yeah.
I realize how damaging that has been to some of the earlier portions of my reputation.
Yeah.
Starting out, I started professionally in 2021. It's almost 2024. And there have been some projects where I wasn't always on time, and it was just something that's I count it as a lesson.
I got a question for
Definitely.
you. So is when you're doing your contract and everything for a job, do you specifically put a time?
No,
when you
I do not. Only because
do you think that will be a ideal thing for you?
No, only because there are certain times when I may have to split my day. And so I would rather talk to the customer face to face and say, hey, listen, for the majority of this project, I'll start at, let's say 9:30 a.m. I like to start my day at 9:30 a.m. Now, whether I'm here or at Home Depot, I'm starting at 9:30 a.m. I might have to pick up materials and then I'll be here by 11. But I'm starting my day at X time, whatever. And then there may be times on that same project, once it's kind of long in the tooth, I might say, okay, well, I have this going on, whatever. I may need to start at 1, or I may need to do, 4 days a week instead of 5. And so those are things where the relationship with the customer really comes in handy because sometimes you need a little more leeway in terms of time. My goal, however, is to do what I say I'm going to do, regardless if I'm starting at 9 or 1, or if I'm doing 5 days or 3 days a week, whatever. I want to do what I say I'm going to do, and that's the thing that I find is the most critical. Because being the same time every single day is not realistic for me. The way my business runs. It's more about making sure I can tell you, hey, I'll be here every day no later than such and such a time. And as long as I can follow through with that, and as long as there's nothing where I can have to call and say, hey, today is going to be different, or looking forward to next week is going to be different. That's why I don't want to be on a contract. If it's not, I would rather those be word of mouth agreements, and then I just follow through.
Understood. Because I was thinking, because to me, like, I'm in automotive, man, and automotive is big on templates. Right?
Oh, okay.
And that's the reason why I'm up here listening to both of y'all, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder if there's a way to strategize some type of template to help you guys out with your streamlining activities or whatnot. My motor is constantly going, thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? And also it's going to help me, like, with doing my music and different things. Because I was actually thinking about files, just old school files, whether it be printed or on, in the computer files, right? And like you said, Al, like jot down all the thoughts that you have that will go into the drawings and different things like that. And each file will be a clientele or a client name, specifics in there and different things like that to generate some type of workflow and process each time. And like you said, the professionalism. If you have that type of thing, man, that structure and that template, dude, it can't go wrong. And you just follow that format. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, and that's only in my mindset. But you got your own way of how you're going to handle your customers if you have to dip early. Or leave and different things like that.
In terms of just with regard to estimating, invoicing, pricing, scheduling, all of those things. Templates are definitely the way to go. The only thing I would prefer to do just, face to face is that time, the start time, end time, those type of things, because that can fluctuate so drastically depending on the time of year, how busy it is, where I need to get my materials, if I need to drive across town to get my materials versus Home Depot down the street, you know what I mean? It can vary so much. I would rather those things be word of mouth. But yeah, everything else, absolutely. And Gary's been saying that since I started. Bro, let me draw up something on Excel for you.